Oh shit! What's up? Sorry, I'm talking to this guy in the meantime.
Good.
You play the ukulele for background music if you want.
Okay.
Shit. This is
Wait.
Brandon, by the way. Brandon
Hi,
George.
Brandon. How are you doing,
just-
sir?
Doing good. How are you?
He just made
Very
it to
well.
he made it to the finals of the Mad Assassins in Tampa. That was for 10K.
Oh, sick. Hey, congrats, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's all right.
Also nasty.
I'll insult Brailer for you a little bit later. I'll make sure that this this interview is heavy on making fun of him. What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. We got a hell of a guest coming in right now. You can tell he either looks like he's going to pick up his roommate or he's taking a driving test, and we're barging in on that. But nonetheless, we'll get back to him in a second. First and foremost, if you're watching this show and you like it, I hope that you do. You might just be coming for him. Most of you usually come for the guest, but that's perfectly fine. Allow me to tell you a little bit about this show. This is called the Grappling Hour, and the best way that you can support us here at the Grappling Hour is you can go to patreon.com/Grappling Hour. If you go there for just $5 a month, you can support the show, see these interviews 30 days before anybody else, and for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies with the athletes, match breakdowns, and everyone's personal favorite, which is Roast Raf, where people roast my competition footage. That's right. We bring on guests who know far better than me how to do jiu-jitsu, and they come on and we grade them on their ability to make fun of me. Not teach me how to be better at jiu-jitsu, because I don't think that's going to work. But we mostly see if they could actually do some form of joke writing. It's an interesting experiment. We're still, figuring it out as we go. But you guys fucking love it, so that's what it is. All right, now, other reminders, like, comment, subscribe. That is how more people get to see these interviews. And I think we want to have more people see this young man and the work that he is continuing to do and will do in the near future. Last couple reminders, Apple Podcast, Spotify, rate and review when you go there. It really does mean a lot. I saw the last rate and review I got on Spotify, and I said, wow, that was a really nice rate and review. I wish more of you lazy bumfucks would go do it. So just saying, really does make a difference. And if you like the merch that I wear for the Grappling Hour, go to rafasparza.com/merch. And last but not least, if you want to continue the conversations we have here on the show, head on over to our Discord and find us at Grappling Hour. All right, our guest. Our guest is a beast, man. I've seen him compete before, but I was stoked to find out that this B team standout is going to be one of the individuals taking place in the new season of the PGF. He won a PGF qualifier, the very first qualifier winner, and I thought it would be great to go ahead and bring him onto the show and get to know him a little bit better, because this man is chomping at the bit. He is ready to get out there and continue a winning streak that, he looked really impressive over at the qualifiers. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's all get to know a little bit better today. One, Anthony Molina. Anthony, how are you doing, sir?
Not too bad. I'm feeling pretty healthy. I just had a big meal when I got home after training. Now I got to go pick up my buddy who just competed at a comp. He made it to the finals, so I got to pick him up real quick. So, real quick, if I'm looking around and not super present at the moment, that's because I'm trying to navigate traffic. But
I think you heavily misunderestimate the amount of ADHD that most of the people in jiu-jitsu have, so it's not that far off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm definitely probably one of the worst culprits of having high ADHD in this.
Yeah, you write it on your basic profile here. It says gamer and weaponizing ADHD. How does one, Anthony, weaponize ADHD?
I guess in a way it's not. In a way, it diverts my attention from certain skills I want to develop, but also in me playing certain games and trying to develop my skills, I can get really creative in different ways, not just sticking to, a technique I would have seen, but diverting off into developing my own skills or for specific positions. Aside from that, honestly, I just be rolling and doing shit and trying to develop my routes in that fashion. Maybe I think B team kind of calls to me in that way because there isn't like a set coach beside Dima, but he's not always in town. But yeah, I can just kind of go to whoever I want to for knowledge in that room. So it's been really great so far over the last year so far, training a B team.
That is wonderful to hear. We have many friends over there, so please give them our best or our worst. That's how they'll know it's actually me. But I guess I should say this. You're also listing yourself as a gamer more than anything. So I must ask, is that a real thing? Is that a jiu-jitsu gamer aspect? Or if so, what kind of gamer are you, sir?
So that was actually kind of like a meme. I honestly just put that on my page just because I thought it would seem funny. I used to have it say elementary school, but I put gamer, and now it fits better with this like mentality shift I've had. A few years ago, I studied a lot of Greg Souders, not as extensively as I have recently. The ecological approach, as people would put it. But now I really went deep. I went back home and trained at a gym called Ground Game Theory, and they've switched to completely ecological. And just really studying a lot of that and trying to understand the method more, I think it's really helped me take more control of my own training. I just enjoy gamifying positions, gamifying aspects of jiu-jitsu, so I can, like I said before, implement my own style whilst I play these games and stick to constraints and think about the invariance of all positions. But yeah, so I guess it was a meme at first, but it is much more fitting. It's very fitting now.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad that it clearly is showing great success for you. But I would be remiss to ask this. What does ecological mean? Because what happens is on the show, when I do this live, I get people who go, "Hey, Raf, what are your thoughts on ecological jiu-jitsu?" And I say, well, first of all, I don't know how to define it. And then second of all, I don't want to give an opinion on something I don't know enough about. But people want to just hear me give a hot take and say, like, what are your thoughts? So I
And then
don't
they clip it
feel,
and they take your words out of context and shit.
I'm sure they have, and that's perfectly fine. But from your standpoint, how would you define ecological jiu-jitsu?
Now, I have to preface, I'm not a scientist. I'm not Greg Souders. If I explain this in a way that isn't very accurate or doesn't make sense to a lot of people, I apologize. When I'm driving, I'm trying to help myself with this caffeine right now. Um, but again, preface, I'm not a scientist and I haven't studied this as extensively as some people have. But from my understanding, ecological sciences is pretty much the study of how an organism um, exists and operates and behaves in its environment. And taking that into a grappling context. Uh, Hold on, I'm merging. Taking it into a grappling context, you know, no technique happens in a vacuum. I don't just do an armbar. An armbar happens in a reaction to how my opponent reacts to my movements, and then the armbar will emerge in some way. Um, in When people study ecological jiu-jitsu, they try to do away with jargon. And when I say jargon, I mean like just naming moves or like really getting like old names you would use for positions. They try to simplify it, to an arm bar would be me immobilizing my opponent by putting their back on the mat, isolating their shoulder, so I immobilize their shoulder, separating their hands from anything it can grab, and bending their elbow over my hip. Now, the thing is, in removing previous jargon, you create new jargon, that the eco guys would understand. And if I say that, and people look at me like, well, that's just you over explaining an armbar. Yeah, but if I think about these little tasks, these little games I have to play, like I need to keep his back on the mat. I need to keep his arms separated from anything he can grab. I need to keep his shoulder isolated. If one of those things isn't perfectly in play, then he can start getting escapes going. He can start misaligning his arm. He can start moving his shoulder. He can start getting his back off the mat. So that might be a really long-winded way of explaining it. And again, there's probably people who are much more educated on this topic than I am that can explain it in a much more eloquent way. But for the most part, that's how I understand it. I try to understand what is the invariant property of every position. What is something about any position that doesn't change, and then from there we try to focus on keeping that consistent so I can achieve the goal. What is the goal? Either breaking my opponent or strangling them unconscious or immobilizing them so I can do these things. So that's how I would explain it. Again, very long with it, but
Hey, listen. What I like about it is you're explaining what it means to you and how you're able to utilize it for yourself. I didn't expect you were going to have the Webster's definition that we're going to plug in forever now. I just like to get a sense of what it means to people and why they use it. Because from a very honest perspective, I don't know where I fall in it completely because my brain is dumb in the sense that I don't do well unless I drill certain aspects of it, but I
yeah,
don't rely on drilling as a whole because I realize that's kind of useless. So for me, it's kind of like, how do I make the best of both worlds where I say, like, no, I like the live application process, but how do I get the mnemonic device that helps me get it so that I understand the concept? Because I found out very quickly they could show a move to like 100 students that were around me, and I'd be like, uh-oh, I am the last guy getting this. This is not good.
yeah,
And for me, I was like, I think I have to build the muscle memory and then find the best way to break it. And then find a way to put me in scenarios that make me have to gamify it, that have to play, that
yeah,
have to get into that sense. So, like, I see a need for it. And a lot of what I do is, I hope, drawing from the best of all worlds. But I tend to be very skeptical of everything. So I
yeah,
like hearing what works for other people because it may not work for me, but it might work for one of my students. And then it just changes the way that you teach here and there. And I think those are informed ways to keep yourself as an instructor.
yeah. That's really big. It really changed the way I train and teach. Like I feel kind of disingenuous drilling a lot of the time because I know like this isolated move didn't happen, like without resistance. Like the move happened first in a live scenario, however long ago, and then somebody saw it, remembered it, and then copied that movement pattern without resistance. Now, I think drilling can be useful if I use it like if something happened live and I remember it, and then I try to recreate that sequence with minimal resistance. Um, then from there, I do it a couple times with minimal resistance, and then we add resistance to see what naturally emerges, from how they react to what I'm doing. But just drilling an ankle lock over and over isn't really, I don't know, the same way over and over isn't really very honest to what's happening in this sport, in my opinion, at least. A lot of people are going to go back and forth on this, and the one thing about a lot of people who are really big into ego is they seem very dogmatic, or that's at least a criticism people will levy against them. Now, I understand why, because what they're really trying to do is get down to like the actual like science of what's going on, like what's literally happening in these sequences to make this technique emerge. Um, but again, like I said, in trying to break that down, you get rid of old jargon that people are used to, and then you apply new jargon that might seem alienating to people who've been drilling for years. I've been drilling for years. Dude, I used to spend like hours and hours. I used to train at Wagner's with my buddy Cade and Tiago and Gene and Brandon George. And we would go to open mat for like 2 hours, and then we get done with open mat at like 4, and just stay in the gym until like 12 o'clock, just watching the Gordon Ryan instructional and just drilling the move over and over. But how many of those moves did we even really remember and apply ourselves? Probably like 3% of it, honestly. Um, Maybe that time could have been spent better, like watching the instructional and then gamifying it to play games. Another aspect of the ecological approach that I enjoy is in comp, you want everything to be reactions. Sorry, these are some bumpy ass roads in Austin, Texas. So, and I have like the most whack, like fucking mount for my phone, so it's gonna shake. So I apologize. I'm gonna try to
You're good, kid.
started.
Just, stay on point. I think we're losing you
Yeah.
here in a second. But
What
as
the
you were
fuck was I
saying,
talking about?
that's how I knew. I was like, no, 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 no. We're so close to getting the
Yeah,
thought out. All right.
that's the
This,
ADHD right there,
I
folks. Sorry.
believe me, you think this is new to me. I have plenty of students like this where I go, no, 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 no. That thought's going away real quick.
I like
So
I like that.
we were
Go back. Help
talking,
me out here.
you were saying like you used to drill a long time ago, and then you realized, that might not necessarily be the thing for you. And you had an epiphany when it came to, say, better time could have been spent watching a Gordon Ryan instructional and maybe playing games from there. And then you were kind of jumping to a new thought.
Yeah, you kind of cut out there, but I remember my point. Yeah, like a lot of that time could have been spent gamifying the instructional and actively, developing those instincts. Because, like, this is what I was going to say. In comp, if I'm thinking about like this 3-step Danaher sequence I drilled like a week ago, and I want to hit this, I'm not really gonna hit it. I'm gonna be thinking about it. If you're thinking in competition, that's a mistake. If you're thinking about what you have to do or the next couple steps, that's slower than just reacting. And if I spend that time playing games in the gym, then I don't have to think. I develop those instincts in training. In training, I would just be thinking, standing, seated versus standing. Okay, I need to connect to his legs. His arms are in the way. Connect to the upper body to get to the lower body. This is how I would think about it in training, and then in comp, those instincts would have already been developed, and I can just react however is appropriate in the moment.
Great thoughts. And it is hard to train the body and the mind to have the right kind of instincts that you like because you don't know what it's going to be. So taking that little bit of a leap takes time to get. And a lot of that comes from good competition reps. But let's get into this, man. You won a very tough qualifier because the PGF is its own beast. But now, because everybody wants in on them, winning the qualifiers is its own freaking journey into itself. So why don't we talk a little bit about what made you ready or wanting to go do this PGF qualifier experience?
Well, I really, I expected to do it. I expected to do one of these, maybe the Austin one, but I did. I commentated for Equinox, which is a competition that Keith, the ref, ran in South Florida at Team Alpha Miami, and I commentated for him. He's like, for helping him out, he was like, "Yo, just slide to one of these qualifiers. You don't have to pay for it." And I was like, "All right, I guess I'll go." And my two buddies, Martin and Leo, they were going to compete with super fights on there as well. So we just drove up, and it was kind of an odyssey because as we were driving up, there was a snowstorm that hit us. I don't know if it was necessarily a snowstorm, but I woke up and it was just fucking all white. And the car started sliding around. We hit a deer. It got super cold. I needed to buy
Hold.
thermals.
No. You hit a deer. Now, I liked that you basically said this and moved on as if it wasn't significant. Have you hit deer going to other competitions before, sir?
No, it wasn't. See, it wasn't that bad. The deer hit like the left side of the bumper, and we pretty much just had to cut off a section of the bumper to keep driving. We kept going, I feel bad for Leo, because he's got to deal with the insurance for the rental car,
No, I get it. It's just you knew where you had to go, and you said, "Sorry, guy, half of that bumper's gotta go. We got a destination to get to."
Unfortunately, hey man, I've gone to a lot of comps and a lot of stupid shit's happened going to those comps. See, this is another thing. For some reason, my worst enemy is airports or airlines specifically. Like the amount of flights I've missed, the amount of flights that have been canceled on me. I've taken flights to connecting cities, and then in the connecting city, my flight got canceled, and then I'm just fucking stranded, and then I have to drop more money on another flight, And so I'm always sweating when I gotta go to compete, bro. Something always happens. So I'm glad that we made it this time. Irregardless of hitting a deer or nearly sliding into a fucking truck like we did. But it was fun. What else is the thing? Oh yes, the cop. yeah, I mean, really just playing games and knowing that, see, the approach, the method has helped me a lot in mentally. Because, all right, I'm sorry, I'm turning from the airport now.
Go do your thing. This is the hardest part to do. So you're basically doing the hardest part of your discussion while at the same time trying to land this bird at an airport. So I
Yeah,
understand that. Why don't I try with the
yeah,
easiest thing?
totally.
You said that you always
Okay.
knew somewhere that you wanted to do a PGF. What specifically about the PGF appealed to you, sir?
So I actually did the last 155-pound bracket or season, like 3 years ago, I think, and I won the Fort Myers qualifier. That was not as difficult in terms of like talent, and there, it wasn't like 30 something people in the bracket. So I won that one and did the 55, and that was honestly the most fun comp I had done like ever because there were no alternates at all. So by the end of the day, everybody was like iced up and limping and shit, and their necks were fucked up. Dude, everybody was fucked up, and they were still fighting the whole way through. People were all wrapped up, still going through the tournament. So it was very fun. I was really happy that I got the opportunity to do another one, to do the next 55. Um, and now I'm not underweight for it. Now I'm around 155, 160 pounds. Before I was walking around like 143 pounds, fighting guys who are cutting from 160. So I'm really happy that I got to do it this time. And again, honestly, the most sick comp I've ever been a part of. Is this cutting out for you?
You're a little shaky, but the good news is your audio isn't breaking.
My audio is good. All right, that's the important part. Nice. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that it's points to submit, three and a break and a choke. So it incentivizes, you looking to actively finish them by strangling them, because a lot of guys, like I fought Reese, you hear me, right?
Yeah, we do.
I fought Reese Lefevre in the 55 when that happened before. And I caught him in a heel hook and he just ate it. He just ate it. I cracked his ankle. He fought my hands, and then he ankle locked me. So maybe more attention could have been put in trying to, strangle him. But it was a great match, great comp. I'm really excited. I hope they still have those like bounties for submissions, right? Like a buggy choke and
Yes.
shit. Do they? They
Yes.
do. Yeah, that's super cool. I love that. It's yeah, and BMAC is like the shit. He's the coolest guy. Super nice. So I'm just really excited to be part of this again.
Can I ask this? Is there a particular bounty you would like to try and fulfill? Because, right now everything's easy because you're not in the thick of war and they haven't announced who the people are. But if you
Yeah.
had your pick, what would be the specific bounty move that you would like to try and fulfill? Because if people hear this, they might put money down and say, like, I'd like to see that happen.
So the one that I want to see, because it's gonna be easy and I'll just make the money, is a Woj lock. If they put like $50 for a low Woj lock, I'll be happy. I'll be happy to just hit that, bro. Because that's gonna be like, threaten an inside heel hook, they turn and Woj lock, boom, $50. And I don't know, maybe a Z lock. A Z lock would be cool, So the two things that will be easiest for me are what I want: a Z lock and a Woj lock.
I wouldn't be surprised if those find their way into the chat at some point because Woj was a very in-demand person last year as a runner-up of the
Yeah.
PGF. Kid's a monster. He's somewhat beloved here on this show, even though yesterday, I'll tell you this story. So Woj,
Okay.
after that experience, and I had told him leading up to it, I was like, hey, man, just so you know, you booked a seminar at the gym that I go to in LA, which I'm glad you're trying to come. But you've been ducking me for so long that you picked the day after the PGF, where you will be held together by glue stick and tape. And you think this is a good
Yeah.
idea. And he was like, no, it'll be good. Don't worry, man. It's cool. I'll just go. I'll teach. And I'm not even worried about it, man. It'll be fine. And the day before I go, how are you feeling, champ? And he goes, oh, man, not good. This was rough. And I was like, I tried warning you. So anyway, he went there, but I told him, I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I'll be back in time because I drove and I bring equipment with me from Vegas to LA. And wouldn't you know it, the day I was driving back, he had been like, oh, I challenge you to a no limit submission time only match. And I was like, brother, yeah, it was like, bro, I'm not your level. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And also, and then I thought about it. I was like, I would normally turn this down, but this is probably the best shot I've got with him being this broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what?
He's like, after 12 matches.
Yeah. I was like, it's not going to get easier than this one time. And wouldn't you know it, my battery died. And I had to wait in Vegas. And I made it in time to at least have dinner with him at a sushi place right next door. And the whole time he's staring at me being like, so you couldn't make it, huh? And I'm like, dude, do not do this to me right now. I am.
He's gonna start calling you like a pussy or whatever.
Yeah. He's trying. Unfortunately, he's funny. I'm still funnier than him. So we go back and forth. But yesterday there was a guy who had a Chicago shirt on, and I had a feeling. And then on the back of it, it had a Woj, the Grappler's Diary photo. Yeah. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, man, come here. And he's like, let's get a photo. And he goes, cool. So I'm like doing a thumbs up. And I was like, I saw that he had a Woj lock or a Woj logo. And I told him he had to get out. And then I tagged Chris on it.
Okay.
And Chris was just like, dude, that's so mean. And I was like, nah, he's the sweetest kid in the world. I really like that kid. But afterwards, I was trying to explain how we're rivals. And he's just like, why would anybody be a rival to Chris Wojcik? And I was like, you ask him. That's not my issue. That's his issue. So anyway, long story short, nonetheless, Woj is beloved. He had a great season. I was very proud of the work that he did on that. But nonetheless, do you mind remembering any of those matches that you had? Because I usually like to try and go in order. So start of the day, what is it like your first match for that qualifier experience, sir?
I'm going to remember this before I say anything. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, I'm waiting for my roommate. Mm-hmm. So if he calls me, you can like edit it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If he calls me and the call drops, like our call drops, like I'll be out for like 2-3 minutes, and then I'll call you back, just so you know.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Just letting you know. So first match, what was my? Oh yeah, okay. First match. Oh man, I forgot this guy's name. I feel bad about it, but I was just chilling, you know. Honestly, I expected to lose one of these matches. I was not expecting to win this fucking cup. You know, so I was just like, all right, let's just do a good jiu-jitsu. Let's just play the games, you know? Like, everybody's just a head, a torso, arms, and legs. And they're going to give me levels of reactions, and they're going to give me, you know, a particular style in which they, you know, they move and they react to what I do. So, you know, I'm just going to have fun playing around and, you know, doing my thing. First match, I meant to wrestle a little more, but I hit this arm drag to pull into guard, and then from there I elevated butterfly to back step to Kane Basami, and just finished an inside heel hook. So pretty straightforward. I think it was under a minute. Next match, I think it was David Weintraub. I might be wrong. No. It was Emilio. He was actually doing a very good job of, you know, getting his upper body in my way and like avoiding the leg entanglements. And I early on did enter his legs, but I wasn't able to finish. I wasn't able to break. I got to cloverleaf and I was like, this is gonna be hard. So I kind of gave up on it. Maybe I could have done other stuff, you know. I gotta play games from that position to like develop that, you know. This is really the reason to go into competition, just to acquire data to see what I can do better as a martial artist. But won that decision. I could have done much better. I could have dominated the match more. I could have finished him, but neither here nor there. Then I fought David Weintraub.
So hold up. We're going to get to David here in a second. Now, you had an interesting position in this, in that you started off with a bye and that other people were going. So you had a series of matches that you got to see beforehand, from what I can see here on these results.
Okay. I didn't even know how to buy.
Well, I was going to ask, what did it feel like to watch other matches going on? So I guess that doesn't matter in that particular case. But were you paying attention to the other matches that were happening? Because one of the things I do like about these qualifiers, now that they're so intensely coveted, is that you see everybody stepping up this game. Like it to me looks like a much more intense affair than it's been in the past.
Yeah, yeah. I was definitely paying attention to my bracket, and I was just enjoying watching jiu-jitsu. You know, I mean, and of course, the people who are in my bracket, I pay attention to what their skills are, what they're good at. Like Dylan Gaffron. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his last name, um, but he had a very interesting way of counter locking people, and I think he did it a couple times in this previous qualifier. So that was something really cool that I started implementing a little bit in my training recently. Um, I got to play with him more to really develop that instinct. But yeah, just enjoying watching matches. I wasn't taking it very seriously. Like before, there's another thing. I had a couple mental epiphanies a few months ago. And one of them was I went into an enigma. I kind of cared too much. I kind of wanted to win $1,000 too hard. And it just was too stressful, you know. You get in your own head and stuff. And this is something that I fought over in my own mind for a while, for years. But really, who fucking cares, bro? Like we're touching feet and trying to, like what's the big deal? I really just went in enjoying the process and enjoying watching matches. I have a stupid story about hitting a deer, I was just there and having fun, man. So yeah, I mean, of course, once you get there, there's a competitive atmosphere, and I try to keep it really like chill. I try not to let that get to me too much. Of course, the anxiety of competition will always be there, but I feel like I've done a great job recently curtailing that by just not giving that much of a fuck. Like, do you know what Dracula flow is?
Mm-hmm.
You know what Dracula flow is?
I do.
Dude, before matches, recently, I'm gonna do this every match. I just listen to the whole thing. I listen to like 34 minutes of this old guy spitting bars. And it's like so dumb. It's like so dumb. But it's also like filled with all this like masculine energy. So I don't know, like it gets me in like the mood thinking like, yeah, I'm him, bro. I'm the shit. But also like it's dumb. So I don't take it very seriously. Um but yeah, again, some people do better going into comp and they're like in the zone, they're ready to like fucking murder everybody. I feel like when I do that, it kind of fucks with my mentality. It's a little too stressful, so I like to just bullshit. I don't know if that answered your question. I was just rambling there, but
You're not rambling. So first of all, I need you to understand one big thing here. This is an overarching concept of the interview show is I have brought you on the show to ask you questions. The specificness of this format is so that you can answer them. No one should be judging you on like, this dude's yapping a long time.
yeah,
What the fuck is he getting off on? I'm like, dude, that's the whole point. We want to hear your perspective because it
yeah,
worked.
good point.
And I'll be honest with you, the part that I connect with is one of the reasons why I started competing. Now, I didn't compete for years, I didn't care for it. But I recognized there was something I wanted to change, which was that when I was a kid and I played sports, like right here, I'm joking, I'm fun. When I played sports as a kid, locked in, incredibly serious, no jokes. And part of the reason I did that is I didn't want to let the team down in team sports. So I wanted
Yeah,
to give it my best effort. And that's unfortunately something that kind of has seeped with me when I need to get like super locked in where I don't have fun in that sense. So I was like, you know what?
yeah,
I'm going to see what I can do. And the first few comps, very locked in, very like this. I have had my best success being light, joking, and then being like, do I go up now? All right. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? All right. I'm going to try and kill you for like 5 minutes. Sounds good.
yeah,
All right. And then I feel like you feel, which is I think I do better like this, but I don't know enough for the superstition to call it something that works or something that doesn't. But I just know I like myself a lot better when I get to relax and enjoy it for what it is.
yeah, yeah. If you're just being yourself in that environment, and if you're just being yourself in training, that's like your best jujitsu. Usually, like the whole goal is to perform the way you do in training. And if and when I go to train and I'm like talking shit, I pop a Zen in, maybe I smoke a little weed before, and I'm just talking all this kind of shit. But if before comp I change that and I'm not the same and I'm not doing the things I did before comp, then kind of, I don't know, not really going to be the same performance as you would in training.
Exactly. No, I see, and this is why when you're like, man, I'm just saying some dumb shit. I'm like, no, it's incredibly relatable, and not everybody has the same experience. So I
Yeah,
like
of
that
course.
yours is understanding in perhaps these areas where people can crumble to pressure. You're actually finding a new way to rise above it, which is just as valid as someone who needs to be like, don't talk to me. This is my process. And then it works
Yeah,
for them. It is what it is.
yeah,
So that's very cool, and I appreciate your candidness with that. So you have this match with David that goes well for you as well. So what are you thinking about this time? Because in years past, this has been like uh, a double elimination format where people had to put somebody away twice, but now you're close to the goal where it is that single elimination style. So you're kind
yeah,
of like, oh, this is within reach. I'm pretty close to winning this thing.
yeah, yeah. I just, nothing changes, bro. Just another guy, more rolling. Just, maybe in my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I want to wrestle more. Maybe I want to hit this. Maybe I saw my next, maybe the opponent that I know I'm going to go against, I saw him move or react in a certain way. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should chase these kinds of sequences because maybe I'll fall into, whatever maybe it seems like he'll fall into my strengths in some way. But yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of there absorbing jiu-jitsu and enjoying it. And I know when it's my turn to go up, I just have fun rolling. But of course, knowing what's at stake and knowing that this guy wants to win and wants to get on PGF and will seriously hurt me if I fumble or if I'm too lackadaisical, that keeps me more in the zone. And I think there's a healthy level of stress that is applied in comp in that sense. Before I would let that stress like fuck with my head. Even in this comp, like I'd be wrong. I'd be competing and going against somebody good. Maybe Dylan Gaffron in particular. In my head for a second, I'm like, damn, this guy's good. Damn, this guy's strong. Damn, he might tap me. Then real quick, I snap back to like, nah, bro, fuck this guy. He's just a person. He's got a torso, head, arms, and legs. I just play the games whenever they occur, and I just, as best I can. Maybe he taps me, and then yeah, he was the better man that time. Maybe I got to develop an aspect of my game that he capitalized on. I really don't care if I lose because if I lose, that's a win for me because then I know what I have to develop to be a better martial artist. You know,
Well said. Oh,
I
did
hit a
you?
button and made a noise. Sorry.
Oh, I was about to. I couldn't tell if you had your roommate here. Is he
Nah,
circling? Where is he in this process?
my roommate?
Or I'm sorry, the person you're picking up from the airport. I thought it was your roommate. My apologies on that. The person
No,
you're
no.
picking up from the airport. Where are they?
Oh, he's probably so he was landing at 4:55. It's like I think it's like I think it's like 5 right now.
Yeah, so
Um,
he's about 10 minutes landed if he did land on time. I was just making
yeah,
sure you're fulfilling your duties. It sounds like you're already there. Does he have to actually pick up luggage though?
I think so. He was only in South Florida for like or West Coast of Florida for like I don't know, a couple days. So I don't think he has luggage. I'm just waiting for him to call me, so he might interrupt this call.
So
I
I
parked like right in front of the airport, so
I don't mind this, but I am curious. Did you think of the part that could happen that you're doing an interview and that he's just chilling there while you're talking and it's like all about you and your jiu-jitsu journey and this dude's probably just going to be sitting there like cool. Like did that part
yeah,
click in yet?
yeah. I thought about that, but me and Brandon known each other for a while, and he's relatively introverted guy. He's very, very funny. If you
Uh,
know him, he just goes off. But he's gonna walk in and I'll be like, "Yo, I'm in an interview. Give me a sec," and he's just gonna be chilling. We're chill. We're chill. It's not a big deal.
just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if that part had clicked in because everything else made sense. You're like, I'm going to drive to get my roommate. No problem. I'm going to be talking, doing an interview while I'm doing this. No problem. You do know he will be right next to you at some point, probably. Yeah,
Uh,
that part might happen. So anyway, let's move forward. let's get to, I think it's your semifinal that we kind of left off at. Now you're at your semifinal. What happens here in this match?
So that was against Josh Flores. Pretty sure that's his name. I might be wrong.
That is correct, sir.
I just stopped smoking weed, so my memory is fixing itself slowly.
No, you are correct. That is the guy.
Yeah. He had beat Landon Helmer, which is very surprising. Landon beat me. Me and Landon have had like 3 matches. So I was very surprised he beat Landon Helmer. So I was like, oh shit, this guy's good. All right, let's roll. And he pulled guard, and I got to implement a little bit of passing. I didn't necessarily pass, but I feel like the way I was moving kind of put him in like worse positions for me. He did a thing. I circled north south, and he like lassoed over my arm. So I yanked my arm out, and it kind of off balanced me. I kind of fell over him, but I landed in like a Butarashi. I just kind of fell into Butarashi and was like, oh shit, I guess I'll do this now. And then from there we just kept pummeling for legs, and he pummeled in a way that fed me an Achilles grip on the cross side for 50-50. So I hit it the first time, didn't finish, but it was close. And then he pummeled in the same way, and I was like, oh, brother, I'm going to finish this one. So I couldn't finish too cleanly, the Woj lock too cleanly, until my shoulders created more height and I could rotate harder. Like I had the figure 4, figure 4 grip to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy Cade put me on, if you figure 4 and you want to make this tighter, I pull this arm into my chest and I just turn my shoulders. And that really put the finish on. You always hope that you always aim to apply the mechanics as cleanly as possible. Maybe I could have finished him faster. Maybe I could have gotten like real pops and breaks in his leg. But I'm happy that I was able to adjust the braking mechanics in a way that got the finish. But yeah, really cool. I had a similar thing against Dylan, but I wasn't able to keep his hits on the mat very well. But yeah, just Achilles script. I caught the same entry twice. Achilles script in the 50-50. The second time I created height with my shoulders and really pulled my arms and my chest and rotated. And that put the break on with the Woj, or cross ankle lock, I think, because his heel didn't sit across my chest very well.
So this is the part that I think I got a little confused by. Was there some confusion in the finals? Because how did you win the whole tournament outright? Because on the smooth comp, it says winner by disqualification. So what does that mean? Like what yeah.
Huh?
That's what it says right here.
I don't really know. I mean, that's the first time I heard that. As far as I know, we just fought, and I felt like I honestly wasn't sure in the moment that I won or got the decision. But looking back, I was like, yeah, maybe I think I was putting on more offense, more often. He was going for a lot of these Kaotera locks. He was like Achilles stripping over my ankle over his own leg a lot, and I would just roll and then look for my own entries, or turn away from him and look for my own entries from there. And I almost had a Woj, I almost had an outside heel hook that I should have fucking finished, and I'm mad about it. So that's another thing that I should play games on and should study, research, and develop is my outside heel hook attacks. So if you're watching this, you want to beat me, then pay attention. But point being, I felt like after rewatching it, I had done enough. I'd been more offensive throughout the match, which gave me the decision. But I don't know what the disqualification
thing
is.
Let me try to figure this out. I think my friend Tim Freeman had told me a story, and I didn't know the validity of it. But it had seemed that your opponent had left, and I don't know if this is accurate. Now that you're giving this blank look, I feel like, all right, let me just tell you what Tim was explaining to us.
The finals?
Yes. Was that your opponent was about to leave, and then they went to the wrong place. I don't know exactly how this played out, but
no. So that was
please.
So there was they were having super matches after.
Thank you. Okay.
And one guy they were going to have a super match with, the guy who was supposed to fight David Weintraub for the super matches after the finals. He had driven like 30 minutes And then they called him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming back." And I don't know if he can't. Oh, okay. I remember BMAX said this online. He went to the wrong Tempe Decatur after somehow, even though he was already at the right one just then. So they just gave David some other guy. So I don't know why.
So that would explain the David, but there was a part of me that was like, did I get the story wrong? Because how would you win by disqualification? When I saw what I saw, I was like, there's this one thing that happens here, which is, you know, when you tune in out of context. So I know what I see live, but then they do these extra matches. So I don't know who gets involved or who does what. But I was like, in my head, I go, I saw you win. Like, I saw that happen. And then Tim was talking about, like, I think this is one of the first times somebody won the PGF qualifier. And I was like, was that him? Did I not watch the extended?
My credit, bro. Come on.
Hey, I'm just, but again, now I look at Smooth Comp because I go, let's just make sure I'm verifying all of this right. And it says winner by disqualification 0-0 times 6 minutes. So then I started thinking, like, holy shit, did I just read all of this wrong and do all this wrong? And did I invent this? Is this Inception? Did I see the wrong thing?
Yeah, you're questioning your reality right now.
I'm just like, oh shit. Now, well, I'm glad I've got the source here. But nonetheless, you get this win. I did want to give you an opportunity because I did see online. Now, I know this part is for real. When you did the promo, you took a good stab at it. And you were saying, come see me for season, what is this? Season 8? And I thought this was not the time to have a break in doing the promo. You should know what you qualified for. So I want to give you an opportunity right now to amend this. Tell the people where they're going to see you come this March, sir. So look at the camera and tell people why they should be excited to see you at the PGF Season 8. Go.
I'm going to be on PGF Season 8 in Las Vegas. I don't know when it is in March, but it will be in March.
You know what? A better promo. I'm already proud. That was that. Because the worst part was I go, oh, well, I'm definitely going to ask you to come do the interview. And then I saw the promo and I go, oh, fuck, we got work to do with this kid. All right.
I don't know. Honestly, like, I get it. For me, that when I looked at that, I was like, that's about the vibe. That's about what you're going to get when I'm around, you know? Pretty accurate. I'm not going to remember everything important. I'm just going to show up and talk. And I mean,
to be honest, after doing this for a little bit with you, I think you're right. I think that is the vibe. It's just, it just tells me my man needs some media training. I am happy to help facilitate that sort of stuff. But I want to ask this. What did it feel like to become the first person qualified for this? Because we really haven't heard too many people. We've heard rumblings of people, but you're the first person we know for sure that is really in on the PGF experience for Season 8.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty excited. Not going to lie, I was pretty pumped. I was like, shit, I did it. Really didn't expect to win all of them, but I did. Nice. I don't know. I was just happy I won a whole comp. You know, I haven't really thought that far as in terms of being like the first guy to be on the PGF, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I don't know. I'm just happy to be part of it and do more jiu-jitsu. 12 matches in like a week? Minute? Bruh, I'm excited. This is going to be cool.
So let's do this. You know, you strike me as somebody who's lived many different lives in jiu-jitsu. I would love the opportunity to get to know where jiu-jitsu starts for you, sir. So do you remember your first jiu-jitsu class? And if so, what do you remember about it?
So my first day in jiu-jitsu, I was kind of, I got bullied a lot in like 3rd grade mainly. So I developed like anger issues as a kid. So I was like really, you know, I'd explode on people and stuff. So my dad wanted to put me in some sort of martial art. So he found like an MMA gym in Hialeah, which is again the city I lived in Central Florida, or not Central Florida, the center of Miami-Dade County. And it was just MMA. So my first jiu-jitsu class in it, we were in the gi. And this MMA gym was like actual like 20-something, like 18-year-old guys that were training for fights. So they were pretty serious, and I was like 12. I was a little too big for the kids classes. So they just threw me in with the pros. And, you know, I had a gi on, we do shrimps, and these guys are all pretty nice, and they showed me all this kind of stuff. You know, showed me what an armbar was. And for the most part, they just put a headgear on me, And we're like, yeah, he's good. And they just beat the fuck out of me for like months on end, you know, and I just had to survive and learn, yeah, like through trying to survive. Um, well, yeah, I did. So I started in this MMA gym, and then after a year, I started doing karate. I switched to this karate gym that did jiu-jitsu. So then I was like, this is kind of lame. I kind of want to. Sorry, there's a lot of people here now.
You're
This is
good.
kind of lame. I kind of just want to do jiu-jitsu. So then they moved me to this place called Padrinos, which is another MMA gym that has controversial. I'll say that. Um, and because of that, we went to a separate gym that was a lot more family friendly called Trillo Jiu-Jitsu Academy. And he had a lot of kids my age. He had a lot of younger kids. He had a lot of police officers because Trillo was like a SWAT officer. He has black belt under the Valenta brothers. Super legit. After a while, he got a he was Jesus. Tell me to go or not. Jesus Christ. After a while, he got affiliated with Time to Blast, and then we would get Eddie Cummins seminars. We would get Nicky Ryan and Gordon and Gary would show up to the gym. So it was really cool being with Trill. Then after a while, I made the switch to Tempe, Miami. After Tempe, Miami, stayed in Tempe, Miami. I started cross training a lot. For the longest time, I've been cross training at almost every gym I can get away with in South Florida. You know, whether it be Mortalis or Wagner's or Addicts or really anywhere that I felt like had a really good room. And but yeah, then eventually a year ago I decided I'd been thinking about moving for a while, but Brandon gave me the opportunity to split them with him here in Austin. So I was like, fuck it. Good timing.
Let's go back a little bit here because I want to get this answer. A lot of people do jiu-jitsu professionally, but they got to fall in love with it. So the question we always ask is, what made you want to pursue this as more than just a hobby? Like, what gravitated you to the sport and the art of jiu-jitsu?
So again, I had like anger issues or whatever, and I was kind of what's the word? A not controversial. I was how do I say this? I was a rowdy kid. I'll say that. And as I got older, I just kept doing it. When I was like a junior, I stopped doing it because I was like weird in the head and I was like emo and shit, and I wanted to be like all artsy and stuff. And jiu-jitsu had always been my main method of self-expression. But then at that time, I was all weird in the head. Then around late senior year of high school, like into college, I got back into it, and then I realized, oh, this is like there's a contrast between how much I enjoy this and how much I enjoy academics or literally anything else. Like I was like mad depressed and weird and socially awkward and uncomfortable with people. And then I got back into jiu-jitsu because I was like 155 pounds, but no muscle, just all chunky. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this forever and nothing else because everything else is mad gay, mad lame. You can cut that part out if you need to. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, so I really just did it, just kept doing it because it was like my main form of self-expression, and I just like getting better at the art form. Developing myself as like a human through this art form, um, and going through it, making it more being more serious about it. Going into competitions, you develop a mentality to go into comp, and you're going like, oh, I'm gonna be ADCC champ. I'm gonna beat everybody. I'm the shit. But really, I kind of circled back around to being like, I just want to get as good as possible for myself. And when I go out and compete, that's like what the competition is there for. It's just to feed me data to expose the weaknesses of my games. So I can go back and redevelop that.
Well, I'm glad you were able to quell some of the anger issues. So that's good.
For the most
The
part.
weird part to me is you just seem so well adjusted in terms of a relaxedness because I interview a lot of people. I've been doing this for over 10 plus years. I've met every type of jujitsu personality there is. And yours seems pretty relaxed and chill. And I think that is a true testament to what you probably had to overcome over the years.
Yeah. Again, I have friends, and I've studied a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of people competing. I've listened to a lot of sports psychology stuff, and I've tried a lot of different methods of putting yourself in the right mindset on a daily basis to be able to perform in the way that you'd want to in comp. But a lot of it's very useful, and I still apply a lot of it. But really, I feel like I do my best when I just gotta show up and just try to apply my skills as best I can in the same way I would in training. And in training, what am I doing? I'm just showing up, saying hi to my friends, bullshitting a little bit, pop a Zin, maybe smoke a little weed. Not smoking a lot of weed anymore, so that's a little different. But yeah,
You
I
keep
don't know.
saying it,
I'm
and it
just
makes me question it each time because if you
yeah,
had said it once, I would have believed you. But the fact that you keep coming back to,
yeah,
hey, I've stopped. I'm good. I'm good. I go, I'm not
yeah.
sure that's stuck in yet, sir.
I swear this time I stopped. I swear. All my friends tell me the same thing. Like, yo, you said a month ago you stopped smoking weed. Why are you smoking weed right now? Just don't be asking questions. But I swear, this time I actually stopped smoking weed.
Okay, but let's get to the other. Like, why do you want to stop smoking weed? Because it seems like it helps a lot of people in jiu-jitsu. And if anything,
Yeah.
I get more people trying to tell me, a person who does not smoke, they're like, you need to get on this. And I was like, I don't.
I think it is helpful in a way the first few weeks. After a while, smoking weed. So I would train at 10 Plant in Miami. Straight. Train at 10 Plant in Miami, brother. We would smoke weed a lot. What is this guy doing? He's going this way. Dude, like for like a year maybe two. This way, right? This way, this way. Boom. For like a year, I would smoke weed like 3 times a day, like nonstop. And my memory was bad, all this kind of stuff. I think after I stopped smoking weed after a while, and I smoke it again, I feel like I can connect positions and sequences more fluidly, or at least I feel more fluid. I feel like loose and limber. Then if you just smoke weed all the time, it's just gonna base. There's no difference anymore. It's just normal, and then it just becomes a habit. Like it just became a habit to smoke weed before training, and you waste money on weed. So when I'm not smoking, I feel like my memory's better. I'm sharper. I feel like I can hold a coherent point more effectively, um, even when I'm not high. Go straight. But yeah,
So
yeah.
if we get to
Also,
PGF week, which will be a tough time for you, and I have a joint in my hand and I'm talking to you, will you be able to not take that joint? Will you be headstrong enough to be like, no, Raf, what are you doing? Get that away from me.
yes,
Give that to another competitor, sir.
yes, I will. You know why? The main reason why I stopped this time is because I got a girlfriend. She vapes a lot. She vapes a lot, like a lot. Um, and she's like, "Oh, I've been trying to stop for a while, or whatever." And I told her, "Yo, if you stop vaping, I'll stop smoking weed." So far, it's working out. I don't know if she's bullshitting me. I don't know if she started vaping again. But if she did, then that'd be great. That's my excuse to smoke more weed.
Wait, that seems like a terrible sort of way of rationalizing it. Like, did you stop? No? Sweet. Like, right
Yeah.
back to it. So I'm just saying, I'm not a person who would have that on me, but maybe I do. We'll see. We'll see what kind of programming it is. I don't think it could go on YouTube, to be fully honest and transparent. But nonetheless, I like the fact that you have this journey that took you from one place to another. It looks like in the near future you have plans, and it looks like you kind of want to continue doing this jiu-jitsu thing, and that you've told me off camera that one of your goals is to open your own gym. So why is that something that is important to you, and what kind of brought you to that realization that's kind of where you want to go next?
So I used to teach a lot, back home. I had a couple of gigs teaching at different gyms, and I just enjoy the process of somebody who's like really bad, and very physically capable, and I work with them. I try to pay attention to what they need, like what they're really paying me for, and how I can do my best to provide that service to them to the best of my ability. And over time, watching them develop and watching me make some sort of influence in somebody else's life, I think is rewarding. And of course, opening a gym is just a great. It's like honestly like the only good financial move, and the only consistent financial move in jiu-jitsu. So why not? And in teaching people, it challenges my own knowledge about the sport. So it's going to constantly make me better. Now, of course, I can't focus on myself as much as a competitor, but I just enjoy the process, and I enjoy, rolling with lower belts and developing new things that I wasn't very good at with them, and then it gives them a chance to defend and have their own stuff. So I don't know. I just always, especially in Tempe, Miami, when it opened up 2019, COVID happened. Tons of people canceled their memberships, wouldn't show up. So I was like one of the only few guys there who was left just sweeping the mats, helping teach classes. So in a way, I kind of got the experience of helping run a gym, and I enjoy it. And I think it's I don't know. I've been doing this for long enough that it feels very natural to me. So having my own place that I can have the say of how to run things, it's going to be all eco, by the way. It's going to be complete. It's going to be full day, full retail.
Let me see if I got that straight. When you say all gay, what does that mean?
Okay, so I like to use this analogy. I watched so much gay porn, it made me gay. And what I mean by that is I studied so much ecological sciences, and I watched so many seminars, so many podcasts on ecological jiu-jitsu, or the ecological approach, that I kind of can't think about jiu-jitsu the same way I used to. Like, I can't, like, the way it makes sense to me now is through that framework. And of course, it's been years of me drilling and watching instructional, so of course, that's still in my mind. But I feel like it'd be disingenuous for me to really try to teach somebody and help somebody and not use the approach to somebody or the method to somebody.
Are you sure this is the good time to stop smoking weed? Because if this is you without the weed and you're like, I had these epiphanies, I went all gay, and I go, I don't know if we've thought this one through all the way, but okay.
Brother, this is the full ant experience right here. You're in my car. Brandon's in the back seat. I got the UK. I got some weed residue right here that I will not smoke, and I'm hopped up on caffeine. The caffeine's what's really doing it right now.
There we go.
Yeah, man, the weed, trust me, the weed's gonna make me, I could not be able to finish the sentence very well. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Let me ask this, because you got Brandon back there. Does he know you're going to be leaving soon? Is he sad about this, Brandon? What's your response to all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's great, dude. Great roommate. I've been looking forward to getting one place here at the end of the lease, anyways. This is a personal space. Yeah, Dan's a good dude. We sad to see him go.
Yeah.
So
it's been a weird. It's been an interesting dynamic. Both of us are pretty relatively naturally introverted, so we don't really get in each other's way. But it's been fun. But I gotta find a place to loiter. I gotta find a buddy's place to loiter. By the way, which exit am I taking? Another 3 miles. All right, let's go straight. But yeah, I gotta loiter at a buddy's place soon.
Let me ask this, Brandon, and I don't mean to impose on this or anything, but how much are you tipping this man?
What'd you say? You kind of cutting out.
Copy that. Brandon, how much are you tipping this young man for his services to come get you?
It's kind of cutting out weird. I'm not sure.
I got you. I'm going to ask you one more time. Brandon, do you hear me saying this right now?
Yeah.
How much are you tipping this young man for his services to come get you from the airport? Because that's true friendship.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we tip each other with rides from the airport. So every time that he needs a ride from the airport, from competition and stuff, I got his back. So
All right. Good guy. All right. I'll let you off the hook on this, because all I could think of was my man's just posted up at the back of the interview right now, just being like, I'm chilling. I'm feeling good. I'm going to have this dude driving Miss Daisy me to my place. No problem. And you also picked the back seat. You didn't sit shotgun next to him. You picked the back seat of this vehicle.
So I was like gonna get in the passenger seat, and then he pointed to the back. I don't know why he pointed.
What did I do? I didn't mean to point to the back like that.
No, what? It points to the back.
So I meant to like reference something else.
That's fair enough. All right. So you want to do this. You could see yourself starting to have an academy. Do you think that's perhaps in about a year's time? I'm sure you don't have anything locked down just yet. You'll probably go back home, get your bearings. But in your head, when would it be ideal that you would see that happen?
So ideally within 2025, realistically, maybe not, but you know, I'm gonna be in Austin for the rest of this camp to prepare for PGF, and then after PGF, I'll probably move back home, and then right from moving back home, I'm gonna settle myself and figure out what locations I want to open a gym at. You know, listen, in this tournament, I don't even care if I win. All I want is to be drafted onto a good team that's going to secure me $20,000 so I can open a gym. Bro, I could care less about fucking winning, honestly. I just want to have some nasty dudes on my team so I can be in the picture with the fucking check, you know?
You want to be part of the group project that gets the A+, right?
100%. Yeah. That is, the hard part is over. Like, getting on to the PGF, that was the hard part. Now the only thing is looking cool and, looking cool enough to get drawn onto a good team.
Hey, listen, you're part of B team. That's a very, very good thing. So that speaks well for your ability to work with a group of hooligans. And who knows what happens here? Maybe that is exactly what you want. Maybe at the draft, you go for an incredible amount of money. Who knows? None of us know how this works. I just know it is going to be a fun time. And I think I was about to say, when you're like, I don't even care if I win, I was like, fam, you need that 20K. I don't know if we're mincing words here. You need to get that money, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to show up, do my thing, do jiu-jitsu to the best of my ability, perform the same way I do in training, and the rest takes care of itself. Whether I beat the guys or not, it doesn't really matter. I just want to have fun competing. And the main thing is everybody else in my team being good enough to secure the 20K. And I'm going to do my best to do my part to do that.
That's a good perspective, sir. The way I usually like to circle toward the end of these interviews is I like to give you an opportunity to thank any of your friends, your teammates, your family members, anybody who helped you get the big win over at the PGF qualifier, or anybody that you just want to give a shout out to. So the camera's going to go on you. Feel free to go and give shout outs accordingly, sir. Oh, and sponsors. You can take care of them too.
I just want to thank everybody at B Team, all of these really high-level guys that fuck me up every day. Damian Anderson, Ethan Krellenson, J-Rod, Nick Rod, all of these guys, Tati, Roman, Frank, everybody, fucking Sean Layfield, the fuck off. No, sorry, Sean. And everybody back home, everybody from Tempe, Miami, Gabe, Ground Game Theory, everybody who's ever been part of my left.
Yeah, do you?
Yes. Oh, Yui. Oh, shit. Okay. Brandon for fucking, giving me the opportunity to live out here and fucking compete and, train with all these high-level guys. Yeah, and Brandon for putting on that comp. And, yeah, I don't know. My girlfriend, love you. She's great. And beside that, I'm probably missing somebody. So sorry if I missed you and your butt hurt, but too bad.
Brandon, do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah. He was gonna say thanks to fucking John Danaher and New Wave in the middle of a B Team interview.
Listen, guys, it's time that we start bridging the community together. That's what we got to do here.
Yes.
No more gang.
Yes, we have a little Romeo and Juliet thing going on over here.
I just love the fact that I'm like, Every time I see people from either of these teams, I'm just like, you guys didn't start the fire. Nobody here did this
Nah.
shit. It's just hilarious and funny to me when I'm like, yeah, I interview all sides. I don't really give a shit. You guys can keep your drama to yourselves. But nonetheless, Brandon, I appreciate you for being a good sport there, sir. Hopefully in the future we get to do an interview, provided one maybe that's not in a car, but
Yeah.
we definitely had eyes on you over at Mad Assassins, and I'm sure at some point you and I will rendezvous.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good, man. Let's do it.
All right, you guys. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say bye to you off air in a second, but I'm going to close this up. Congratulations are in set for you, sir. You did a great job. I'm really looking forward to getting to see you for a week out at the PGF. You got a good attitude. I'm a big fan of what it is that you're doing on your jiu-jitsu side, and I think you'll do well in this world because it's crazy, it's intense, but you know, it's also incredibly fun if you got the right attitude.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this this comp, and I'm really excited just to see and interact with all the other competitors and see how much I can learn from everybody and how much I can learn from my own matches and watching their matches. So it's a great opportunity, and I'm really happy that BMAC, and Enigma TV gave me the opportunity.
That's what's up.
Thank you for the interview, by the way. This was actually really cool.
Well, I'm happy to facilitate that. There's going to be a lot more that week of, so be ready. And this was the nice one. The one that we do in person, when I find out how much money you go for, when I find out if you stuck to not smoking weed for the next 2 months. And I've got spies everywhere, sir, so you don't need to try to pretend like I won't know. I'll know. Like, by the time you get there, I'll have already had reports sent to me and let me know what is going on with most of you guys.
Listen, man, if I fuck up on the weed, you're the last thing I have to deal with because I'd have to hear it from my lady. So trust me,
I don't know, man. If she's vaping, she really can't be one to talk. I think you've got an out there.
No. Oh, shit, I fucking called her out. Shit. Damn it. No, she's not vaping, but sad thing is, I got her on Zins.
Jesus Christ. Babe. All of you kids on the Zin. This is a terrible thing. All of you guys are just literally going from one vice to another. And I had to ask one of my friends, I was like, how many of those Zins do you go through a day? He's like, oh, a whole thing. And I go, a whole freaking container in a day? Yeah, dude.
My gums will deteriorate completely in a day.
That's what I'm saying. Nah. All right.
Yeah, listen. I stick to 2 at the minimum, the most.
That's actually pretty good. All right, I'm going to say bye to you off air in a second, but again, my thanks to you, sir. I look forward to seeing you in Vegas in a couple months.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys, that's going to essentially get us close to the finish line here, but before we do, a couple quick reminders. First, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have no idea what you want to comment on right now, tell us your vice, because we just learned all about this man's vice right here as he is telling us he is not going to be smoking the weed. Hold him accountable. You find him, you say, is that the devil's lettuce, sir? Dude, slap it out of his hand. Say no like a cat. You tell him, and then get a spray bottle. Pss, pss, pss. You have my full permission to do that out in Texas and later in the Miami when you see him back out that way. So nonetheless, keep those things in the back of your mind. Like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find us on patreon.com/grappling hour, $5 a month. See these interviews 30 days before everybody else. $5 extra gets you extra bonus content not available anywhere else. You can find us at rafaesparza.com/merch. If you want to go and support the show, get a t-shirt or a hoodie that says Grappling Hour. You're going to see some of our friends wearing those things. Our top 10 interviews, the bottom 5 of the top 10 get t-shirts, and the top 5 get hoodies. So be on the lookout for our friends wearing those very near in the future. And you can also like and subscribe and rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And finally, if you like this show, and I hope that you did, you can find us on Discord at Grappling Hour to continue the conversations we have here on this show. All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.